We were part of a roundtable discussion on addressing online child sexual abuse and exploitation in Nigeria. And I thought to myself, why don't I share this amazing experience with my audience? Please stay tuned. Hi, everyone, and welcome again to another episode of You Are Not Alone. Now, this is an education, advocacy, sensitization program of Action Against Child Sexual Abuse Initiative. My name is Juliet Ohahuru Obiora, and I am your host on this journey. So, on today's episode, we will be talking about something that we're part of, and this was the presentation we made, and we said, no, why don't we just share it with our audience? And it's titled um, "Our Reality, Our Destination: Tackling Online Child Sexual Exploitation and Abuse." So to go further, I will be going ahead to share my screen with you so we can get to know where we are and where we need to be with regards to child sexual abuse. And before I go further, please, if you're not subscribed to this channel, feel free to subscribe. Also, like and share our messages. I mean, this is an advocacy program and we want it to reach as far as possible. So please go ahead, like, subscribe, share as much as you can. And please follow us on all our social media channels. I mean, it's right there on the screen, on the YouTube screen. Please follow us and like and share our messages. So I'll be going ahead to share our slides with you. Our reality, our destination: tackling online child sexual exploitation and abuse. So on this episode, I'll be sharing with you what we talked about during this roundtable policy, just to give you an insight on where we are and what we need to do. But before I go further, I would like to start by introducing who we are as an organization. Now, we are Action Against Child Sexual Abuse Initiative, and of course, we are focused on leveraging digital technology to address sexual violence against women and children, especially girls, in this part of the world. So we do this through programs like this and other programs that are mostly online and mostly aired online, as well as we have other remote programs and other programs that are not online, but they're also tilted towards the use of technology. So going further, now Nigeria, let's talk about where we are with regards to online child sexual abuse, what the reality is now. From the concept note that was shared for this round table program on tackling online child sexual exploitation and abuse, it stated that Nigeria is facing an increase in the amount of online, or let me say, child sexual abuse materials online. And then in 2020 alone, that 46,610 cases of child sexual abuse materials in Nigeria were reported to the US Center for Missing and Exploited Children Cyber Tip Line. Now, this represents 19% increase in reported potential cases year over year. So for me, I sense this as a growing problem. So we all need to start talking on how to address these issues. I mean, these are vulnerable children involved. My goal is to take you with me on this journey so we can understand the realities with regards to online child sexual abuse, and not just understanding the realities, but also to see the measures that we have to put in place, things we have to start doing. It's not done, where we are and what we need to start doing to move from, to start addressing these issues online. So that's my goal. So I'll be taking you on a journey. And before I start that, I'll quickly share with you a real life story that happened to a child in Nigeria, a real life story of child sexual abuse materials that just happened most recently, a few months ago in Nigeria. So I'll start by, of course, letting you know that I have changed the name of the identity of the child in question, just to, of course, protect their privacy, as the case may be. So I'll start by telling you that this teenager's name is Ifoma. Ifoma is only 13 years old, and Ifoma is a student of the Twinkle School, some school in some densely populated area of Nigeria. Now, Ifoma at 13 was also a social media influencer for the Likey social media application. Now, on the Likey social media application, Ifoma was posting content of herself, of course, behaving in inappropriate manners, I mean, manners that were not appropriate for for the age of 13. So Ifoma was doing all this on that platform. So while Ifoma was doing all this, Ifoma had a very large followership. Ifoma had followerships that ran into thousands. So she had all these people that were interested in her content, that were viewing her content. Apart from that, now recently, Ifoma a few months ago, her school was now nominated to be participate in some competition in the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, precisely Dubai, where she had to represent her school amongst other students, of course, to be a part of this program. While they were there, they were under the school supervision, under the school protection. And after the event, and they came back, something surfaced online, and this was a recorded version of Ifoma involved in sexual activities with about 4 or 3 of those boys. Now, this became the problem. What happened next was that this material was everywhere online. I mean, people were sharing it, people were posting it on their phones, and all that. The school, of course, seeing what happened, expelled Ifoma from the school almost immediately. Her parents took to the police, alleging other cases that she was gang raped, and other stories came that no, she was not gang raped. Looking at the video in question, she was in charge of those activities and doing everything with those boys. So there was no room to call it a rape case. So we had all these things going on at the same time. So people were sharing this. Oh, journalists took to the streets. I mean, they took to the social media. So you had people building content as social media, contents, YouTube contents, different video contents, using Ifoma as example, talking about her situation. Her face was everywhere. This video was everywhere. Of course, most of these social media applications, or most of those social media platforms were not allowing the streaming of this video, but the pictures and a few cut of it were used here and there. So that takes us to today's topic, our reality, our destination, tackling online child sexual exploitation and abuse. And like I said, my goal is to take you on a journey on where we are and where we need to be, or what we have to start doing to address this issue. So I would like to start discussing on every level, how we have failed Ifoma as a child in our society. Now, I'll start by talking about, first of all, Ifoma as a child and a young person. One of the greatest questions that we're going to ask as Ifoma as a child or a young person is that, are children equipped with the basic knowledge to protect themselves online? Now, this is very important because in the case of Ifoma, when they were self-producing or self-generating that material, they didn't know the consequences. So do children have the knowledge on how to protect themselves online? This knowledge, are they provided to these children in any way? Also, do they have a way to get help? It's a very big question. If they can't protect themselves online, is there a way they can seek and find help on what to do and how to do it? Really important. Another question we'll be asking ourselves as a society, as a people, is, are parents and guidance informed on ways to help guide and protect their children online? I mean, these are the primary caregivers for these children. So when we're talking about how informed are they in tackling these issues, in guiding their children right. Everybody is virtually, they said out of 3, UNICEF says 1 out of 3 children all over the world has access to the internet. So what are we doing about it? How are parents, what knowledge do they have about protecting these children online? We'll have to also talk about digital applications. Now, digital applications, the question is that, how are digital applications held accountable to ensure that children that use their platforms are not exploited through that platforms? This is another question. In Ifoma's case, we can see that the Likey social media created a very big following for her, of course, and of course the same social media was what had brought her out, just like every other Sesame case we know. And also, talking about our schools now, our curriculums equipped to provide adequate sex education or whatever preventive education to these issues, be it online child sexual abuse or child sexual abuse on its own? Are our institutions, our schools, how equipped are they locally in Nigeria here to address these issues? Also, our journalism, our sense of journalism, our ethics of journalism, journalists, how informed are they on reporting Sesame related cases? Do they understand what it entails? Further, And let's talk about the public. How aware is the public, in dealing with, CSAM cases? Like, if you see CSAM cases, how much do people know how to react, what to do, how to go about? In the case of Ifoma, we know what happened. So we're still asking the public, how much do they know? This is where we are right now. We can also talk about law enforcement agencies. In Ifoma's case, because the case will always end up in the police station. So, how informed are our law enforcement agencies in addressing CSAM issues? Now, in Ifoma's case, of course, she went to the police. One of the things that was done is she was asked to apologize on social media for what she did, and there was, a whole lot of. So, how informed are this arm that is supposed to protect these children, or these places that we're supposed to go to, to respond to issues like this? How equipped are they? How prepared are they? How do they know how much do they know about handling these cases? Also, our justice system now. How informed is the judiciary system or the justice system in dealing with CSAM related cases? That's it. So how informed is the justice system if she were to go to court with the alleged rape situation? Do they have do they will she be made to, to recount these experiences over and over again? What do they have in place to, address these issues in a child-friendly manner? Let's talk about the civil society organizations, not finally, of course, but civil society organizations, they play a very vital role because, we are a civil society organization. Almost every organization here is one. So we're bridging that gap between the people and then the government. As civil society organizations, are they working in this area of online child sexual abuse? How equipped, how supported, how funded are these organizations to be able to address these issues or to jump on these issues, as it unfolds? And finally, let's talk about the government now. Do we have policies that should protect children? And if we do, are these policies being implemented? So having listened to all this, these are where we are, with regards to Informer's case. I've tried to enlighten you on what happened on each instances, So the question is now, having looked at all these sectors that should protect children and how they have failed children and young people, just like Ifoma, the question is, how do we bring in everyone on board to play their roles adequately so we can start addressing this issue? Now, during the virtual round table, I remember that, we were discussing on, various measures. Why we had come to that virtual table was to see how we can majorly bring solutions to this problem or start discussions on how to solve these issues on online child sexual abuse and exploitation. But it's also very important to know that this is very new to us. Yes, producing this material, season material, is not new. Like we said, 46,610 in 2020 alone was generated from this part of the world, as reported to the US ICMEC cyber tip line. But it's very important to also note that while this is not so new to us, it's new. It's a new experience. It's a new understanding for most of us. Parents, teachers, everybody don't understand the consequences or the dangers that this could lead to, how destructive it is to children. So that now makes it really important for us to start somewhere. For the Africa population, it is really important we start somewhere. And the number one place we have to start is sensitization. Now, this is how we must begin. Sensitization is our first point of call. And, this is one of the strengths of Action Against Child Sexual Abuse Initiative, providing majorly on preventive content that, can educate, can sensitize, can create more awareness on these issues. Now, we do this in different ways. We've written books, we've done a whole lot, but on online child sexual abuse, we also started producing this content to put online to, let people know what to do, and all that. So we must begin letting both the young people, the old people, every area know that, children are at risk online. First of all, this is a must. We have to create that opportunity to really inform, sensitize people and say, hey, it's not safe online. It's easy to say, oh, my kids are in the house and they're locked up, but the consequences of what could happen online, it's like worldwide. It's not like the physical child abuse situation where you just have the perpetrator and the child. The child could have experiences or have a situation to relive these experiences and over again. So it's really important that we create that awareness to let people know that, hey, young people are not safe online. We have to start from there, sensitization. Now, our destination on this journey, we should also not just sensitization, but also have to recognize the the systems that should support children. Yes, when we sensitize them now, we have to now look at the systems that should support children and see how we can back them up to do so. I'm happy that we're sitting on the round table talking about, a project that will be coming up, hopefully, where we're talking about Meta and other organizations that will be working together to see how we can create these sensitization materials and inform people on what to do, and then the realities and the dangers of this issue. So we are on the right track. So sensitization being the first point of call. So, thus, the ideal situation is that we have to start with, first of all, ensuring that the child and the young person has access to preventive education, and not just access to preventive education, but also have access to support systems that aid the reporting or provide some sort of guidance and counseling for children. So, in Ifoma's case, you have a situation where Ifoma probably had some counseling in after this situation, since she already produces the material, or where she can get help to get the material offline or some sort, So Ifoma did not have this knowledge prior. But if she had this knowledge and had preventive knowledge, they wouldn't have produced that self-generated material. But since they don't have that knowledge, with the season material, what should they do? So we need children to have this knowledge on what to do in situations like this. Now, for parents and guardians, which are the next game, the parents and guardians also need to be sensitized to understand that children can be, are not safe online. It's really important. I had said it before, that's where we start. So they need to know that children are not safe online. And they also have to be provided with the knowledge to, supervise and mitigate these experiences for children. How do they do that? Like listening to a few people during our conversation, we talked about training parents, training guidance, just to understand what to do, how to sort out some applications that are not good for children, how to provide guidance on their phones, on their gadgets, on their systems. I mean, we have all those people experts in this knowledge to teach these parents how to set out these rules for their children online. We also have to look at digital applications. For digital applications, they must also be held accountable for, to protect children who access their platforms. It's really important that we're having this conversation with Meta involved, of course, and we want to have more digital applications involved, having these conversations with us, applications that can understand how to look out for children. There are different kinds of technologies that are coming out, so we can merge and integrate and see how this can go all through every application, ensuring that the mandate of keeping children safe online is protected and it's kept. And also looking at the schools now, children should be educated on the basics of staying safe online and offline through their schools. Children spend a lot of time in school, so it's really important to find the school as a place for them to receive that sort of education. The school has to, in some way, build this into their curriculum. Talking about child sexual abuse, I mean, sex education. The last place that it was launched was when Plan had done something. I think it was in Sierra Leone or Liberia. I'm not too sure, but we're working on, providing extensive sex education to, spread across both people that are suffering from that are studying from disabilities, and to have the prior knowledge on how they can protect themselves through their schools, of course. And then for the journalists, now journalists must also be sensitized to ensure that the interest of the child is protected in all their activities. Because in Ifama's case, we can see that her pictures were used, violating those rules. Not just her pictures, some of the videos, clips were used. People using her real names and all that. They need to understand the law as it pertains to children, and reporting children and sexual abuse materials is really important for them to understand that children remain the victim at every point in time. So they have to know how to report it. And to the public, of course, now the public needs to be sensitized to understand their roles. Now, the easiest place to start this is to educate the public to know what next to do. Like the public must know what to do when they see a scissor material, what to do, not to share, and then how to report it. It's really important. And if more people can know, then we can start curbing the extent to which this can go to, and letting them also understand that it also has legal implications, even as an ordinary individual to share informations like that. So we also have to look at all that and educate the public, sensitize the public to understand their roles in addressing child sexual abuse materials. For the law enforcement agents, it's really important to understand that they need to be, sensitized in their roles in reporting these materials. Not just sensitized, we need to also build their capacity. I'm happy with what is already happening in NAPTIP, and there's so much more to be done. I mean, NAPTIP is just an arm. There are a lot of other organizations that we can support, build their capacities to also engage in the fight against, child sexual abuse materials online. But also, the safety and best interest of the child must also be at the center as they operate. So we have to, provide opportunities to build their capacity to be able to deliver child-friendly services, as well as engage in the removal or in addressing scissor materials online. Now, the justice system is also another very place. So we must also sensitize the justice system to understand that the concept of the child's best interest as they carry out their proceedings. So they must ensure that as they carry out their proceedings, that the interest of the child is really, really protected. To ensure that the proceedings, the interviewing, everything that is happening keeps the child at the center, protects the child, providing an atmosphere that allows a child to thrive. Children are not supposed to be put in these situations, and when we have put them in those situations, we have to make it. We have to cushion the effect for them. We have to cushion the effect to help them react appropriately to these experiences. So, for the civil society organizations, now civil society organizations, they need to be equipped with the support to carry out their work on tackling online child sexual abuse or child sexual abuse, as the case may be, because online is very new to us. So we believe that a lot of civil society organizations will need to have their capacities built, expertise. We also need some sort of support in funding to have more private sector driven child advocacy centers, like we talked about it. We're talking here, and we have the Sierra has a child advocacy centers. I can tell you that the child advocacy centers in Nigeria that are functional, that functional, that you can, they're very few. We believe that civil society organization working in child sexual exploitation abuse, they're not really funded. I'm a member of the Brave Movement, and one of the things we did as an organization when we started was to begin to advocate for more funding from the G7 countries and also from international organizations like the ones we have here on how they can improve the situations of organizations, support organizations working in the field of child sexual abuse, so we can have more impact for children. So we need the support to build the capacities. We need the support to fund our programs so we can be able to reach more children and have more impactful projects. Finally, we are talking about the government. And now we understand that we must engage the government in enacting policies that will ensure the safety of children. Yeah, there are a lot of policies that are not fully domesticated, like CRC for Nigeria. We still have issues like that not being fully domesticated, and we have to start looking at other policies with regards to online child sexual abuse. And of course, we need the civil society organizations like us and others right here with us to support these systems to engage the government in this discussion so that we can have these policies ready to protect children online. So, having said this, I would like to first of all appreciate ICMEC as well as IWF, UNODC, Meta, Child Helpline International, Cybercrime. That we have started this conversation means so much to us. But We don't want it to just be a conversation. We just want it to, materialize into action. And we are more than ever as an organization, we're aligned to play our roles in promoting preventive materials as well as providing referrals as the case may be. Our organization Action Against Child Sexual Abuse Initiative is aligned to play the role in tackling online child sexual abuse in every way. And we are happy to be part of this conversation, and we look forward to more and more. Thank you for your time. Thank you.